Good afternoon, Pirate Nation. How's everybody doing? This is head coach Mike Houston. Good afternoon, Pirate Nation. How's everybody doing? This is head coach Mike Houston. Welcome to ECU Athletics version of Ask Coach Houston, sponsored by Pizza Hut. We're going to be spending the next 30 minutes together talking all things ECU football and just enjoying some time together. I do want to start out just acknowledging, we're all in unprecedented times, and we're all in, in the middle of this virus scare and situation together. And just, I want to start out by just thanking all of the medical personnel, the government employees, the grocery store workers, everybody providing services that are allowing us to continue on in our lives, but at the same time, they're putting their lives at risk. So just can't thank those individuals enough for everything they're doing for all of us. And just wanted to, have some time this afternoon where, we can all kind of get our minds off of everything a little bit and just, have some fun, discussing what's going on with Pirate football and what's going on with our staff and our players and answer some questions. So if you've got questions that you want to ask, feel free to send those in. At the end of our broadcast, we're going to select five different fans to receive a free pizza from Pizza Hut. Our marketing director will be in contact with the five fans that we select at the end of the broadcast, and we'll get that set up. So looking forward to this and looking forward to this time together. So thought I'd just start out while we're getting going, just telling you what's going on right now with our program. With the players and the coaches. We're staying very, very busy. We're learning how to operate in this virtual world. I got off of about a 2-hour recruiting meeting just a few minutes ago. We're going to finish up this afternoon, kind of recapping our week with the recruits. But we're very busy right now, interactive with the recruits on a daily basis, and have a tremendous number of high caliber players in our pipeline right now. So all that's going very well. The staff is working very hard in those regards. We're in the middle of our game planning for the upcoming season. We've pretty much finished everything with Marshall. In the middle of game planning for South Carolina right now. We'll continue on and do game planning for Norfolk State and UCF, just because of where those games fall in our season. This is normally work we would do in June and July, so we're getting that work done a little bit ahead of time right now. Our players are they're functioning virtually with their classes right now. We're in contact with them every day, just how that coursework's going. They're also working out on their own. Coach Williams and his staff has constant communication with our players regarding the workouts and just how that's going. So everybody is, we're continuing to push ahead. We're continuing to move forward in spite of our circumstances, and I'm really pleased that we've operated at a pretty high level. We've got several questions in, so I want to kind of go to some of those. Will Landon just ask about exactly what the players were doing with their workouts since they're away from campus. Coach Big John, he did a great job of kind of evaluating what each player has available to them. Some of the guys have home gyms, most do not, but he's put together workouts depending on what resources each student athlete has. For a lot of them, it's a little bit of what he calls his neighborhood workout, which is a lot of body weight stuff, a lot of whether it's push-ups, body squats, lunges, using some different things around the house to work out, a cardio routine with that. But the coaches are in constant contact The strength coaches are in constant contact with the players regarding those workouts, and so I think those are going pretty well. Tamara Harris asked, will there be any more tours of the tower in the fall? Well, I hope there's 6 of them, 6 home football games. So, outside of that, I'm sure the athletics would be glad to set something up, whether it's at Meet the Pirates or some function like that, where everybody could get a tour of the Town Bank Towers. It's really a first-class facility, an amazing structure and venue for East Carolina athletics and the Greenville community. So, we want to show it off to anybody we can, but really looking forward to, having those home games there. Mark Crippen asked, is there any reason why the football season would not occur? Right now, everything is full speed ahead, and there's no reason to think that we won't have football in 2020. But, just like everybody else, given the landscape of our nation right now, there's a lot of unknown. I think that, the thing we're going to do is we're going to keep optimism. We're going to plan for August 29th, and we're going to plan for, everything with our season coming up and prepare for it, and then be ready to make adjustments if we need to make adjustments. I do think we'll play at some point. Hopefully it's on time. Could it get pushed back? Yeah, it could get pushed back. But, that's one thing I do think the NCAA will keep us all in alignment with everything so that, hopefully we can keep everybody on as level a playing field as possible going into the season. Just trying to look through some of the questions right here, and a couple of you have asked the same question, so I don't want to answer that multiple times. Had Richard James asking about one of our freshmen, Travion Freshwater. Travion's working really hard. He had a really, I thought, a pretty good fall semester, and excited about the efforts he's putting in this spring, and hopefully looking forward to having him on the field with us this fall. What an outstanding young man. I've just enjoyed getting to know him so much. Comes from a great family, and we're certainly excited to have him as a part of our program. Madison Weeks. Yes, I voted for Sup Dogs. If anyone out there hasn't voted yet, they're in the finals versus the sports bar in Kansas, or the Jayhawks sports bar. So, but Sup Dogs had a lead last I checked, but it was a tight one. So if you haven't gone on Twitter and voted for Sup Dogs, be sure to do so. I know that there's a lot of excitement about that out there right now. I see Larson Gilbert wants me to comment on the athletic director. So I'm a big fan. I'm sure you are too. I think that certainly that's something that is good to touch on. John Gilbert is obviously in a tough situation, just like the rest of us. I really appreciate his leadership. I appreciate the way he has used good common sense with a lot of decisions he made and is continuing to make regarding our athletic department. And I have complete confidence in him being the best person to help us navigate this situation. William O'Connor asked about recruiting for 2021. That's what I was commenting on at the very beginning. Right now, with it being a dead period, what we can do is we're evaluating probably more players this time of the year than we have ever in the past. We just have more time to. So I've looked at more recruits right now at this point than I had this point last year. Most of the kids, by the time they make it to me, they have been evaluated by 5 or 6 different coaches. We have a communication plan in place where, for example, I had 15 specific kids this past week that I was in communication with. On top of that, there's probably another 15 that just randomly you're in communication with. every coach is like that. So, right now we're in, constant communication with probably over 500 recruits. Now this is, a few junior college guys, a lot of rising high school seniors, and a few grad transfers. So I think that recruiting is going very well. The one thing we can't do right now is we can't bring recruits to campus. So we created a virtual tour of our football facilities. So we're trying to take campus to the recruits. Look forward to getting a virtual tour of our weight facilities and our stadium in the near future. And in that way, we can take as much of what we have to the recruits, since right now they can't be on campus. Okay, Tamara Harris asked about the Pirate Walk before games. We do plan to continue that. I thought it was a big positive last year. It was important to me to present the program and the players in a first class manner. That's the reason we invested in putting them in a jacket and tie. The other thing was, when I graduated from college, I didn't own a jacket and tie, and so these seniors that are leaving us right now, they keep their slacks and their shirt and their jacket and their tie, so at least they have something like that for any interviews or anything like that as they transition to the next part of their life. But we do plan on having the Pirate Walk again this year. The time for that will be announced in conjunction with what time kickoff is. So just look for ECU Athletics to make those announcements as we get closer to the season. Sharon Williams asks, when the virus calms down, possibly at the end of May, we'll be allowed to bring the players back to campus. And I think that's something that certainly government officials and everybody with the UNC university system, they'll make those decisions about when we can have student athletes back on campus. We're going to be in the same boat as North Carolina and NC State and every other state supported school. I would think that would be something to be pretty uniform across the board. Probably nationally, but especially within our state. But we do have to have X number of weeks of training with our strength and conditioning staff to get the players back in shape before we could even think about starting fall camp. The number one priority for me is the safety and well-being of our student athletes. So when we are cleared, I do want to make sure that we do a great job of getting them prepared before we ever think about starting any kind of football-related activities. Kyle Barber asks, how do I feel about the season possibly starting in the winter or the spring? I think you got to be prepared for it. It's one of those things, like I said earlier, that we will be, just continue to evaluate the situation that we're in, continue to work through, what comes to us, each day, and then, see where that lands. I think, everybody will use common sense with, making sure everybody's safe, number one. And then number two, making sure that we all have time to prepare physically and as a team before we ever start thinking about playing games. So hopefully that's August 29th. If it's later than that, it's later than that. But I'll just be excited when we get out there and start playing and we're back together in Daddy Ficklin Stadium. Richard Allsbrook asked if I've ever had long hair. He had saw a picture up in Shave on Fifth. Mike and the crew there at Shave on Fifth, they give me my cut each week, or did. So I'm on a hiatus right now from that, but they do a great job. I had long hair when I was in middle school, and that didn't last very long with my dad. So he took care of cutting it for me. Waylon Sumlin is asking about any newcomers. Do I see any newcomers in our two deep this upcoming fall? I would say absolutely. we had several guys with us during spring practice who were mid-year enrollees, a couple of junior college transfers, several incoming freshmen. I hate that we did not get the opportunity to have spring practice, because that would have been the time when you would have really known who is ready to play this fall and who's not. Hopefully we'll get some kind of work, whether it's OTAs, in NFL style OTAs or something like that this summer. But hopefully we'll get some workouts before fall camp. But there's no doubt that you're going to have several of those mid-year guys, and possibly some of the guys that we're going to add to the roster this summer that will be in our two deep when we get ready to kick off against Marshall. Michael, and I don't want to butcher your last name, so I'm not even going to try it, wants to know if there's any time to hear from some other coaches and get to know them a little bit. I would say as this goes on, you're going to see athletics do something like this with some of our other coaching staff members. Right now, we have several new coaches on the defensive side of the ball in football. We're getting to know each other virtually. We've all had to learn how to operate just like this. But it has not stopped us from continuing to get to know each other, continuing to, learn and get on the same page schematically, defensively, with a new defensive system going into place. Really pleased with those guys, those new additions, Coach Harrell, Coach Weaver, and Coach Ellis, and kind of how they've assimilated in with our staff. So hopefully we can get some of those guys on a little bit later on here this spring, and that way, Pirate Nation can get to know them a little bit. Brandon Ives asked what I'm most excited about on our schedule. Right now, I'm most excited about Marshall, because that's our next game. So certainly, we've got a very challenging schedule, a really exciting schedule this fall. The opener against Marshall has so much surrounding it. And as you look at it, when you really think about it being a week 0 game, Navy and Notre Dame are going to play that afternoon in Ireland. And then we're going to be the game right after that. It being week 0, our game against Marshall could be the first football game played in the United States in the 2020 season. So there's going to be so much excitement about that, after going through everything we're going through right now. And then you tack on the fact it's the 50-year anniversary of the tragic plane crash when the Marshall football team perished going back into Huntington, West Virginia. So you just have all that, plus it's opening night. So I think that game is going to have just a tremendous amount of energy around it. There's no way Daddy Ficklin Stadium is not sold out, not with the passion of Pirate Nation. So it's that's I think it's a big one. But I really like our schedule. It's going to be tough. There's not a game on there where it's not going to be a dogfight. But I really, really like our team. I think we're going to be an exciting team to watch. I think we have some exciting guys on both sides of the football. And I think it's just going to be a team that's going to be highly competitive, and we're going to have our shot each week. And I can't wait to watch us go out there and play. Frank Fallis asked, how much of a role do you think the strength and conditioning program is in the team's success? Anybody doesn't know Frank? Frank's one of our strength and conditioning coaches, bright young guy, and he knows the answer to that. To me, the strength and conditioning staff is vital. I mean, it's the backbone of your football program. Coach Big John Williams, he and I have as ideal of a relationship as I think you could possibly imagine for a head football coach and a head strength coach. He keeps everything in alignment in his area with our values within the football program. But I believe that you develop a tremendous amount of toughness, a tremendous amount of unity, discipline, work ethic, so many intangibles that go into winning, on top of just getting bigger, faster, and stronger. So to me, I think that the strength and conditioning staffs within every football program in the country are really undervalued by most out on the outside. But certainly, I put a very high emphasis on the importance of that within our program at East Carolina. There's my sister Melissa in Franklin. I miss you guys too. Hope everybody's staying safe. Dustin Bell asked, will there be many changes schematically with the new defense coordinator? And the answer is yes. I mean, it's the reason I made the move that I made. Obviously I know Blake Harrell very, very well, but I'm impressed more daily with the job that he's doing, putting together a scheme that's going to really give us the opportunity to play at a very high level on the defensive side of the football. Blake's a hard worker, but he's also very creative. He's very, very aggressive. So you're going to see, you'll see a lot of diversity with the scheme that we play with this year. Just really look forward to getting some practice in so we can, get the players, trained up and get them on the same page. William O'Connor asked if there's any talks concerning scheduling UNC in the future, and that's a John Gilbert question. I think Coach Brown and I would be good with it, and I have tremendous respect for Coach Brown. I've known him for many, many years. He's been, very influential on my coaching career and very helpful to me, and I would consider us close friends. And so, we'd be great with it, but really that's the athletic directors, the ones that make those decisions. I think it's a great rivalry, though. Gene Hatter asked how the players feel about Thursday and Friday games. I have mixed feelings on those. I'm not a huge fan of the Friday night games because it does put you in conflict with the high school football programs, and I'm not in favor of that, having a background as a high school football coach. The Thursday night games, I thought it was great last year having that prime time, way to kind of show off our program, show off our new facility, have that national exposure. So I think that's a good thing. At the end of the day, the one thing that most people don't understand is we have no say in that. ESPN, they in our conference office assign those games. So, you pretty much you play the hand you're dealt. But I do think, some of those in-week games are okay from time to time. I prefer Saturdays. I think the traditional Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening games in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium are preferable to everyone. So that'd be my thoughts on that. Thanks so much to all of you for all these questions. I'm trying to read through and find ones that might be the best for this. I've got one right here from Corey Tripp. It says, "Have you found your favorite barbecue spot in town yet?" Well, unfortunately, I found several of them. That's I'm gonna have to watch it, or I'm not gonna be able to get onto the field this fall. But that's one thing about being in Eastern North Carolina is I've been able to to find so many great places where and everybody knows them. Where we have great Eastern North Carolina barbecue. I would hesitate to name out one because I do enjoy several of them. But I have enjoyed that very much with moving to Greenville. Richard James wants me to comment on incoming quarterbacks being able to push Holton this year. I think the thing you got to understand about the dynamics of the college football game is it's hard for any freshman to come in and really compete against an upperclassman who's established. I think we're very fortunate that we have one of the top quarterbacks in the conference in Holton Ahlers. I expect him to have a huge year this year. He's on the same page with Coach Kirkpatrick and the rest of the offensive staff now. He and the receivers, they're on the same page schematically. it would be so difficult for a freshman to come in and be able to challenge him very much this first year. I am excited about our incoming freshman class, and I am really excited about the quarterbacks in that class. I do think that they are going to set us up to be solid at that position for the foreseeable future, and I think that's really what we wanted to accomplish. But I think that in our quarterback room, we have multiple starting quarterbacks at the college level, and so I think you got guys that are going to be able to compete, push each other, help each other get better, and keep our program strong at that position. Dustin Bell asked if there's anyone that I would like to see to replace UConn with the AAC. It's a lot of people have their opinions on that. The one thing I think the conference is going to look for is, if they do add a 12th member back, it'll be someone that brings something to the conference, and I think that's important. And not just not just another team to play, but they bring something that the conference doesn't have, or they can help the conference improve somehow and take it to a higher level. The American Athletic Conference is one of the top FBS football conferences in the entire country. I think that you see us compete at a very high level. You see us, our teams in the top 25 week in and week out. It's some of the best football some of the best college football in the country. So I think that they will be very selective with who they bring into that group. Just kind of last couple of minutes as we start wrapping up, just to hit on a few things. One, I'm shocked we've gotten through this broadcast without my two sons making an appearance. They're on lockdown right now doing their schoolwork with their mom. But that's going on in households all across the country. And I think it's probably given the parents a new respect for teachers and educators. It's probably given husbands like me a new respect for their wife and the job they do as mom, because she's really been on top of that and helping our boys stay up with their schoolwork. And that's required a whole different level of patience on her part. So I know that all of us, as we work through this, this social distancing, thing, and doing our part morally and responsibly as Americans to try to slow the spread of the virus, that's something that's important to all of us, and it's certainly something that we all do, hoping to get rid of this disease. But I just want to stay with everybody, just to stay positive. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally. I think that's one of the things that can be very easy to go to a bad place there. But keep your optimism up. I know our country is facing some scary times, the economy or whatever else. But I do know this about America. We faced scary times before, and we've always come back strong. We've always come back stronger. You look back at 9/11 and how things looked dark then, and how our country responded. I know it'll do the same now, and it's really the same thing with our university, with our football program, with our fan base. We'll come back from this. We'll come back stronger from this, and it's just the resiliency and a thing about what's so special about our institution, about our community, and just about everything with the situation we're in. Okay, as we finish up, we're selecting five fans for free Pizza Hut pizza. Just a reminder, just to be in touch with our marketing director, and they will get this taken care of. Tamara Harris, I think you were probably the most interactive of anybody on here today. So certainly thanks a lot for your involvement. Uh, Richard James, thank you very much for your involvement today, and the questions you ask. Madison Weeks, you reminded me to make sure that I mentioned Sup Dogs, because Brett, he's going for that back-to-back national championship there with being the top sports bar in the country. William O'Connor, thanks for your question on recruiting, because that is such a big piece right now. And Sharon Williams, thank you very much for your questions regarding our players and getting them back on campus and getting them ready for the season. Just thank you to everybody in Pirate Nation for participating today. Hope this has been good. Really enjoyed the interaction with our fans. Thanks for all the questions that were sent in. Hope everybody has a safe weekend. Look forward to seeing all of you again soon. Look forward to seeing you in Dowdy Ficklin Stadium this fall. Can't wait to be back together. Go Pirates.